So Craig, the Obamacare lawyer, has published an article that I think ought to be distributed to every news outlet in America, and everybody ought to read it. It is so good. I meant to text him to hip him that we were talking about it, but he'll hear about it. He talks about Obamacare, PPACA, because I don't want to make it about Barack Obama and the policy and that argument, but
no, and we're so long past that. The Republicans had their chance to change it, so you can't be blaming Obama for all this.
Bunch of chickens, yeah. So anyway, but it was picked apart by both the Obama administration that chickened out on quite a bit of it, and then the Republicans. So it's a weird, like hollowed out, Hulk. It's empty over here, it's full over there, but it doesn't even resemble what it originally was, whether that was a good idea or not. And then Craig talks about how health costs have actually grown and grown and grown since its inception. It has not been affordable care by anyone's definition. But here's the important part. And I'm just going to quote it. While policyholders and covered employees are being hammered with a barrage of news media about the runaway costs of healthcare, double-digit premium increases, and an overall demise of the medical insurer model, something peculiar has been occurring over the past 4 to 9 months. Costs are slowing and carriers are profiting. But have your renewal increases similarly moderated? No, in most cases they have not. Is this the inevitable result of free market, for-profit healthcare? Hardly. We cannot remind our readers enough. We do not have free market healthcare in America. Instead, we have something more like an unholy alliance between a gargantuan rent-seeking oligopoly and big government. Recall that in California alone, 70% of all persons are covered by taxpayer-funded healthcare. 70%. And what he's saying...
Wow, that's incredible.
In little words is now we have, and this is exactly what I was talking about the other day when I said, a lot of you on the left, you say, no, see the free market, this is what happens. What you're pointing at is the opposite of the free market. It's big companies petitioning the giant powerful government to twist laws and rules to their good.
You know what?
It's the opposite of the free market.
Plus a whole bunch of people that are on the taxpayer dime. So what you got there is something that will never end because the Republicans are happy with one part of it and the Democrats are happy with the other part of it.
Yeah. It's an unholy alliance between a gargantuan rent-seeking oligopoly and big government. So rent-seeking is an economic term meaning currying favor with the government because that's how you get ahead. That's what the Soviet Union ran on.
So your Wall Street Journal care more about corporations and people class that the Republicans want to keep happy. They're cool with it.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously, people who want to grow the role of government and healthcare are cool with it. Yeah, so both parties, neither party is going to be interested in stopping this.
Right. So one more thing and then I'll move on because, I don't care whether you want to hear it. I think it's important. Many people assume that the U.S. healthcare system is primarily supported by private dollars, such as insurance premiums from employer-based coverage, said Gerald Komitsky, director of the UCLA Center for Health Policy Research and the study's lead author. Oh, those arch weirdo libertarian conservatives at UCLA. But that's no longer the case, at least in California. It's not private dollars and employer-based coverage, mostly because the massive expansion of Medi-Cal, in California in particular, the state's version of Medicaid and Medicaid itself. There's this myth that we have a mostly privately funded healthcare system, but we're approaching a point in which almost 3/4 of this system is funded by public money. Now, a question to ask ourselves is, when do we reach the tipping point and say, this is essentially a public system?
So let's come up with a better, more efficient public system.
Right, because the one we have currently is horrifically bad.
Which is part of the goal of a lot of people.
Yes, it is.
You get it so far down the road of its government health care that you might as well just accept it.
Well, what's his name? The smug bastard who helped Obama and it was caught on videotape explaining what they were doing. And Barney Frank, there are speeches on videotape. You can watch them on YouTube where he's saying, this is not our goal. I used to do a pretty good Barney Frank, but A, it's been a long time, and B, nobody remembers what he sounds like. But he had like a cartoon.
Hey, Fred. No, that's Barney Rubble.
He had a cartoon.
Andy. No, that's Barney Fife.
No. He's, but he
Hey, children. No, that's Barney the dinosaur.
Can you do Barney Miller?
I can't do a Barney Miller.
Folks, I'm just going to step back for a while and have Jack signal me when he's done.
Fish, would you hoits? No, I can't do a Barney Miller.
Oh, boy. So you've got a system here that is an absolute extortion rape of ratepayers, of you people, paying ginormous amounts to insurance companies that are making mind-boggling amounts of profit because they're plugged in to the government pipeline. What Obama said is, you got to route these trillions of dollars through us. We'll decide how they're spent and where they go. And the insurance company said, well, if you can't beat them, join them. And so the ones that did the best at sucking up to government, slathering the bribes around and getting Congress to twist this law to their purposes, are now getting crazy rich on your money with the smiling approval of the federal and state governments. I probably ought to devote the rest of my life to marching and burning things and making speeches and writing clever chants and the rest of it. I probably won't, but this is a perfect example of big government gone horribly wrong, and we, the people, getting screwed. So sorry to bring you such depressing news.
That argument, that ship has sailed. That the whole thing is over, right? It's just a matter of when we all just accept. Okay, let's come up with a more efficient government health care as opposed to this.
Singapore's got an interesting plan.
Got plenty of text, by the way. You can drink in Singapore if you're planning on going for the big summit.
Woo!